Yo, what is up, everybody? I am your host of the Monday Trash Talk panel, Jesse Goku, also known as the King of Mexico. And today it is April 19th, 2021, and I am back for another podcast on Monday. So right off the bat, so today's topic is freedom of speech. So we're going to talk about. I'm going to be talking about freedom of speech. Let me lower my mic. I can't even hear my own voice. It drives me nuts. I need to be able to hear my own voice, and it makes me sound much more. I don't know, but I like to hear my own voice. All right, so today I'm going to be talking about freedom of speech. There's a lot of people that feel like they're being attacked, and their freedom of speech is being taken away by on social media. So, with that being said, we're going to talk about that today. If you have any opinions or you would like to share your thoughts on the situation, I got gonna change the panel. Yeah, there we go. Hey. With that being said, before we begin, let me express to everybody that this is for mature audiences only, may contain strong language, adult themes, and extreme sarcasm. If you have any complaints, please feel free to send them to geeksfiver@gmail.com, or you can send them to our Facebook at facebook.com/geeksfiver. Also, we have a couple announcements today. A couple things we're going to talk about before we get into the podcast. So Delta HCon has just announced today that they will not be changing their dates as of this year. We kind of already suspected that might have been the case, and we already started preparing for this very thing. We will be at Delta HCon Friday. I am the DJ for the wedding event that is going on Friday. We are going to be doing panels and such for Comic Palooza. We're going to try to do our best to do stuff for Comic Palooza and Delta HCon, but with both conventions having so many restrictions, it's kind of hard to say, or kind of hard to predict what we're going to be hosting and what we're not going to be hosting. Definitely, we're not going to be bringing karaoke to Delta HCon. We will have something in our hotel room, but it's going to be private. We're not going to have a lot of people. We're just going to have to play by ear. We're going to have to go from there. Hopefully, But the wedding is it's going to happen. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be the DJ. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But Delta HCon, we're going to try to do our best to help them out. With Comic Palooza, though, we do have to do stuff for Comic Palooza. I can't just, pick and choose. So I have to do stuff for both. Unfortunately, I have to do stuff for Comic Palooza if I want to help them as well. But we'll see. Like, we still have lots of time. I got lots of time. So, I have time to figure out. With that being said, also, I had another thing to talk about. Okay, right. So this Friday on the Geeks Fiber regular podcast, we don't have an actual guest or subject or anything like that. We're actually inviting everyone that wants to be on the show to appear on the show Friday. So we don't have an actual date to when Geeks Fiber first started, but it has been 5 years since the podcast started. Like, the Geeks Fiber page started before 2016, but it actually didn't get the ball rolling until 2016. So we are definitely doing something for Friday. We're going to do a podcast, and we're going to invite everybody to talk about, just the community in general. We're going to talk about a lot of things. Monday next week, there will be no Trash Talk panel. We will have our podcast XL on Monday. The Black Table Podcast will be joining us on Monday, so make sure you check that out. On Sunday, special podcast, I will be appearing once again on the Black Table Podcast, and I think I'm going to have to get back with her, but one of our previous guests, Dahlia, the tattoo artist, will be back on the podcast on Sunday to talk about their ventures as a tattoo artist and their new shop and to promote their business. So that's going to be pretty cool to have them back on the show. I also have another podcaster joining the show, hopefully soon, within the next month or so. They talk about sex, relationships, and a bunch of other things. They were talking about strong independent women, and are men threatened by strong independent women? Do they feel threatened? Do they feel intimidated by someone that makes more money than them, like women that make more money than them? Shit like that, They were talking about that, and I actually wanted to bring them on to talk about it. They said they weren't a geek, but I was like, well, if you like music or anything like that, then you're a geek. But even if not, our community does face a lot of things like that. There are some guys that feel threatened by women that are better cosplayers, that make more money, that better crafters. Who doesn't matter. But there are men out there that feel threatened, like they feel like the man should be the head of. There are some guys out there that are very controlling. There are guys out there that want a badass girl, and they can't handle a badass girl. So let's just put that out there. With that being said, today's subject is called freedom of speech. Is your freedom of speech being threatened by social media? Do you feel like social media is taking away your right to say whatever you want, whenever you want? There are people out there that believe that social media has gone too far by banning people for saying what they have said before, whether it is hate speech or not. There are some people out there that believe that these people are just crying and whining because they're finally being held accountable for their for what they are saying on social media. They're finally being held accountable, and there's repercussions for what they can say. Now, before we begin, I actually looked up what freedom of speech is. And so this is according to the constitution.congress.gov website. The First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and the petition the government for redress and grievances. I don't want to read the whole article. Okay, so the first line is the Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or the press or the right of people to peacefully assemble and to petition the government for a for lots of things. So there's some questions that people on here ask, like, well, freedom of speech is does freedom of speech have limits? And then somebody says, and this is lawsforseniors.org. Freedom of speech, what is it and what it isn't? While freedom of speech is one of the fundamental rights, there are limitations as a general rule. Limitations on free speech preclude speech that is harmful to others, threatening or generally repulsive and reviled. Does freedom of speech mean you can say anything? This is according to hotlegaltips.com. Should the law protect the speech, or are there limits to what freedom of speech means? The First Amendment to the United States Constitution has been interpreted to mean that you are free to say whatever you want, and you are even free to not say anything at all. Is freedom of speech a crime? In the United States, freedom of speech and expression is strongly protected from government restrictions by the First Amendment to the United States Constitution, many state constitutions, and state and federal laws. This is according to wikipedia.org. What is covered under the freedom of speech? The court generally identifies these categories as obscenity and defamation, fraud, incitement, fighting words, true threats, speech integral to criminal conduct, and child pornography. The contours of these categories have changed over time, with many having been significantly narrowed by the court. That is according to FAS.org. I kind of don't know where they were going with that one. What are the disadvantages of freedom of speech? List of cons of freedom of speech. This is according to connectusfund.org. Freedom of speech does not mean the freedom to have all speech. Freedom of speech can spread false information. Freedom of speech can incite violence against other people. Freedom of speech creates a paradox. Freedom of speech can create a mob mentality. What is not protected by free speech? Categories of speech that are given lesser or no protection by the First Amendment include obscenity, fraud. Okay, yeah, so these things are not protected by freedom of speech. Fraud, child pornography, speech integral to illegal conduct, speech that incites imminent lawless action, speech that violates intellectual property law, true threats, and it's not that. I'm not actually clicking on the links. I'm still on Google. So these are like questions that people ask, like, is there freedom of speech in the workplace? This is a good one. This is according to natlawreview.com. Generally, there is no right to free speech in private workplaces, since the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution does not apply to the private sector employers. Certain employee speech is also protected under the National Labor Relations Act. What are the limits of freedom of speech in schools? Through public school, students do possess First Amendment freedoms. The court allows school officials to regulate certain types of student expression. For example, school officials may prohibit speech that substantially disrupts the school environment and that invades the rights of others. Can you get fired for speaking your mind? Speaking your mind shouldn't lead to being fired for insubordination. In fact, disagreements in the workplace can be a sign of healthy communication habits between team members at all levels. Freedom. That's what this podcast is going to be called. Freedom. But I mean, like, what do you think? What are your thoughts on like freedom of speech? I think so. A lot of people have been getting mad at Facebook, Twitter, just in general, social media, just for the fact that they have been putting people in Facebook jail, banning people, giving strikes towards people for whatever. And people are like, well, freedom of speech because of the First Amendment, I can say whatever I want. I can say whatever I want and nobody can stop me. That is not true. Now, I just read it, and people are going to join later on in the podcast, and they're going to be like, well, you're wrong. They're not going to hear the whole they're not going to hear the whole show. So we went over it. Freedom of speech is only on a federal level, on a state government level. The government, local governments cannot make a law against you. Now, the political ideology of freedom of speech is a principle that supports the freedom of an individual or a community to articulate their opinions and ideas without fear of retaliation, censorship, or legal sanction from the governing body. Now, private sectors like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, or your job. If you say something horrible and racist, they can fire your ass or they can get rid of you. When you sign up with Facebook, they have a terms and conditions. And I know 90% of the people, when they sign up for social media, just skip over that shit. I'm guilty of it. Nobody fucking reads it. At least 90% of the people don't. But it is an agreement. It is a contract that you are making with Facebook. And you have to follow their rules. This is their house. It's like when you were growing up and you lived with your parents made the rules. It was their house. But I think now people are like, well, I'm being cancel culture because I said something offensive. People need to be held accountable for the bullshit they say. I think we're getting too comfortable with people saying racist shit. Or not us in general, because I'm not comfortable with that shit. But people say racist shit all the time. And now the world is finally becoming aware of its environment and standing up to the bigotry and the bullshit and doing something about it. And now people feel threatened because they can't say the same racist, bigotry, homophobic bullshit that they used to say. People say some fucking awful things, and it's fucking true, whether you want to accept it or not. People say some fucking awful things. I've said some awful fucking things, that were normal or acceptable 20 years ago. But I have changed as an individual. I have learned to take 100% accountability for my actions and what I say. Hello. I 100% agree. Agreed, Goku, my man. Thank you so much, sir. I'm glad you can agree with me. If it's all right if you disagree with me, if you would like to share your thoughts. Want to give a shout out to Didi, says hola. By the way, even though I shared this one earlier, I want to give a shout out to my boy Blastoids, who will be on the podcast pretty soon. Late, we're setting up a date, but I got a couple people that are coming back to the podcast. Podcast celebrating 5 years Friday. This Friday, that's right. Geek Survivor podcast. I'm gonna go ahead and open up the floor to anybody that wants to join me. I know we don't have a lot of people watching, but that's okay. You know, people actually watch they watch it afterwards, which is cool. You know, last week on Monday was one of our most recent highest rating shows in the last few months. So thank you very much. Uh, but we're not going to talk about what we talked about last week on Monday anymore. I will give an update though towards the end of the episode because something happened recently. But we're going to go from there. I mean, I see people. There's a. I'm not going to say the guy's name, but I'm part of the Texas Renaissance Festival community. And occasionally people bring up, political bullshit on there. They were talking about building the wall. And fuck, how do I put this? They were talking about building. He was talking about building the wall, and he's like, "Oh well, one of the ways we can decrease immigration is to start shooting at the people that are crossing over illegally. Maybe we start shooting at them, they'll stop coming over here and bringing their kids, and then we'll have less kids in cages. That's one way we can solve the immigration problem and the child problem. It's by shooting at them, because then we'll scare them off." That's what he fucking said on there. Not word for word, but he did say the word shoot. And I remember one of my friends like commenting on there, showing me the screenshot. See if I can see it. Let me actually see if I can find the screenshot. I do apologize for not having it in advance. I didn't think I was going to have to bring it up. But it is a good example of people just saying whatever the fuck they want and letting out their like inner fucking racism, and then they get mad like, "Oh, you're trying to censor me." Like, really, man? You're gonna say some really fucked up shit, and there are some really fucked up people in this country. Let me see. I think this is it. Yep, found it. Okay, so this is what he says, and this is in the Texas Renaissance Festival community. So, like, I'm not making this bullshit up. I'll share the screenshots with you privately. I won't show it on the podcast. But with that being said, this is the kind of shit that people like to say and get away with, and then get fucking mad when you call them out on their bullshit. Like, I have freedom of speech. Yes, you have freedom of speech to say whatever you want, but you are not free from repercussion. You're not free from the fucking backlash of your speech, especially if you say hateful things. If you wanted to save those children, this is him speaking. If you wanted to save those children, all you have to do is get their parents to stop using them as pawns in criminal activity if they really are their parents. The blame for that falls directly on them. I'm not missing the point at all. This is completely. Oh, I think I'm reading the. Is that after? I think this is after. This is the afterthought. After he made that statement. Okay. So after he said something about shooting them, he's like, if you want to, he talks about shooting the illegal immigrants as they're crossing over. So this is the afterthought. So if you want to save those children, if you do, all you have to do is get their parents to stop using them as pawns in their criminal activity. If they really are their parents, the blame that falls directly on them. And I'm not missing the point at all. This is completely apples and oranges. To save our children movement is going is going after pedophiles and rapists. Although these children are important, their parents put them there. Most of us want to put the adult pedophiles on the ground with lead poisoning. So if you want to use the same vehemence, we can get. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. We can get the wall. We can get the wall built. Put snipers on top. Oh shit! This is where he said it. Put snipers on top and just start shooting them as they attempt to cross. Um. We can get the wall built, put snipers on top, and just start shooting them as they attempt to cross. The children are low to the ground. Most of them won't get hit. Since the parents, and he says in quotations, have been proven unfit and endanger the lives of children. Problem solved. That is what he fucking said. And then my friend goes on to say, he says his name, tags him. My friend was right. You're a racist piece of shit. There's no place for you in my friends list and on this world. I hope you're able to change before your time here ends. Be gone. And another person actually calls him out as well. They tag him and says, "You're most likely a white person, so there's really not." And I didn't get to see the whole comment because I didn't take these screenshots. My friend did, but like he's being called out as it is in this shit, and it's very fucking horrible and heartbreaking to hear. People come. Let's address some comments. People come to the U.S. for different reasons, seeking asylum or just better environment compared to their own country. That's such a violent solution. Like, let me see. So I don't want people to think that I'm making this shit up. Okay, let's go ahead and I really don't want y'all to think that I'm fucking making this shit up because now you can see it right there. Most of us want to put the pedophiles in the ground with lead poisoning. So if you want to use the same, we can get that wall built. Put snipers. He's talking about putting snipers on top of the fucking wall. And just start shooting at the people that are crossing illegally as they attempt to cross. The children are low to the ground. Most of them won't get hit. What the fuck? This is in the Texas Renaissance Festival community. This is the not everyone. There are a lot of good people in that community. There's some wonderful people in that community. People that help me, that taking care of me. But there are some sacks of fucking shit. Joining before we continue, once again, joining us from the Ravens flock and also the host of the Black Files, who does a podcast every Saturday live on YouTube. You can check him out. He's the one, the only, the people's champ.
Wow. You do me too much honor. You do me too much honor, man. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Holy shit on a crap sandwich. I hope you'll pardon me. I don't know what your language rating is with this, but oh my god.
Let me go ahead and take care of that for you. So I got you here, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, remember this is for mature audiences only. May contain strong language, adult themes, and extreme sarcasm. If you have any complaints whatsoever with any of us or the host, all the opinions expressed in this show do not necessarily reflect those of the other admins or sponsors of Geeks 5 Ever. If you have a complaint, go to geeks5ever@gmail.com. Go ahead and forward your complaint, and we will actually take care of it for you. Also, you can send us a message at facebook.com/geeks5ever. So if anybody has any complaints, remember this is mature audiences only. Foul language is used, and a lot of things are said and done, but I do take accountability and I do take responsibility for what I am saying. With that being said, I'm
free to swear like the blasted sailor I am. Holy shit. Thank you.
Right.
Oh my god, this guy. This fucking guy. I was only listening to him for like 5 minutes and I'm like, okay, sweetheart, I'm going to go ahead and get in on the chat here on Geeks 5 Ever. I'm going to give this psychotic dude, this is the Texas Ren Fair community there, right? That's going on.
This is a member of the Texas Renaissance Festival community. He's an individual who is very outspoken, who actually is always first to share his opinion on matters that absolutely have nothing to do with him. Once again, I will go ahead and share that with you right here. As you can see, this is just the second half of the comment section, but this is the part where he says, and it says, it says, put snipers on top and just start shooting them as they attempt to cross. The children are low to the ground. Most of them won't get hit.
Does the parents have been proven unfit and endanger the lives of these children? Problem solved. This fucking guy, holy shit. how much privilege, how comfortable must this motherfucker be in his life that he can give such an unabashed, uninformed, dumb shit opinion on this? Like, oh, I've got an idea. Let's just exterminate people. Yeah, that hasn't been historically inconsequential and horrible in any way, shape, or form at all. What could possibly go wrong?
Right.
Mother, fuck
That
this guy. Up
and
the ass with a hot metal poker. Jesus Christ.
and that, oh man, you are very passionate today. I can see that. But that goes into that goes into the discussion today, because this is one of the individuals who's been very vocal about how social media is stripping our rights to freedom of speech. Now, for years, people have felt that their freedom of speech is being taken away because they can't express themselves like they used to, and they have to walk on eggshells and be politically correct.
Oh gee, how terrible. I cannot go on a publicly known space that is owned by a private company. Remember, these social media companies, they're not based by the government. They're not protected by the First Amendment. They can get shut off at the drop of a hat. I've got a buddy of mine who just shitposts on Facebook, and they slam him into Facebook jail for 30 days because they say like his thing was like sexually inappropriate or some other bullcrap. So now he's like messaging us so they could spread his memes for him. It's hysterical. It's like, you got to remember, these social media platforms are not your friends. They will turn you off at the drop of a hat. You just better be thankful that they're actually acting out of a somewhat moral ground. Like, half the time, it's, like, dumb. Because, like, oh, hey, you're sharing this one picture of Bayonetta or whatever. And obviously, Bayonetta is a fictional character. No one believes she's real. She's clearly sexualized on purpose. No one should have a problem with that. Like, it's a matter of empowerment for the character. But like, hey, if you put a picture of her on the beach or whatever in a one piece suit, not even like a sexy like slinkini or whatever, slingshot bikini or whatever, just like a regular one piece suit, because she's a classy lady like that. She doesn't need to reveal everything. That's for you to find out, for you to imagine. But he'll get thrown. You could get thrown in the jail on Facebook for 30 days for sharing something like that. But we got a motherfucker like this who's literally advocating for murdering people attempting to leave their country to enter our country. Apparently, all of a sudden, that's a bridge too far. Oh no, you're impinging on my right to advocate murdering people. Come the fuck on, shut the fuck up. Cry me a river, build me a bridge, get over it. Sweet merciful Jesus, this guy.
I would like to share some quotations from you from some of my friends when I had posted earlier. Today's topic is about freedom of speech on the podcast. Is it being attacked, or do you think people are overreacting to social media taking action? These are some of the comments that were shared. I think that people use harmful and problematic language, racist, transphobic, anti-Semitic, homophobic, misogynistic, etc., are the ones who are the most upset about being called out. They only want free speech to use slurs and not get in trouble for it, and call those they insult snowflakes, but cry the most about cancel culture despite doing it since Elvis. Another comment is, freedom of speech is not being attacked. People are just mad that they are now being held accountable for their actions. There's always been limitations on the freedom of speech, and acting like there's suddenly limitations in place is stupid. There's no call for more laws. Rather, there's a louder call for the laws to be better defined and be actually enforced. You can't cry fire in a crowded theater. You can't sexually harass people
on an airplane.
Right, absolutely. You cannot threaten somebody's safety. None of these were enforced like they should be, though. If someone were to threaten to stalk or harm you, you literally can do nothing to stop them unless they actually hurt you. And even then, there's still a slim chance. That's what is being called to be fixed. But people want to have people who have never been through that type of situation feel they know best when they don't know anything.
I totally agree with that. Like, here's what's up. I think, like, for the longest time, as part of my own vocabulary, I've thrown the R slur for folks who had mental development. To this day, I still catch myself saying that in private conversation with some of my friends, and I have to catch myself on that because I know it ain't right. Not because And when I don't change that because I feel like, oh, I'm being repressed and I'm being like taking my liberties away. No, it's because I'm realizing I've got a lot more friends these days who have actual mental development issues, and like this, as I'm going along with the years, I'm realizing, hey, I've got like my own fucking emotional problems myself. So yeah, I could see why that could be why using the R slur is harmful, and why it's why it should be discouraged. So I'm not going out on our platforms. I'm not going to be off on Wednesday for the Black Files on our live broadcast or the Ravens Block on Saturday nights and be moaning the downfall of American society because I can't call somebody because I can't say like call someone that. As a matter of fact, I've taken that as an opportunity to challenge myself to come up with a more loquacious vocabulary on it in order to sting a motherfucker who deserves to be called out for acting like an asshole and acting like someone who's got a serious development problem in himself and trying to use that as an excuse to act like an asshole. So I simply call him a mentally deficient motherfucker. Simple. And it sounds a lot stronger when you call them that instead of just saying the R slur on them, because that's lazy. Like for someone who prides himself as a wordsmith, as a writer, as someone who could try to be a little bit more creative, coming up with an insult like that to someone who's being an asshole, I find that to be a challenge. So I gladly accept it. I would challenge anyone who wants to believe that they're being repressed by society because they can't use slurs or call gay people the F word on them. Like, okay, fine. Why don't you go ahead and come up with something a little bit more little bit more loquacious? Why don't you expand your vocabulary? Why don't you read a book, motherfucker? While you're at it, why don't you read several books? Maybe unlearn some of that fucking toxic vocabulary that you've ingrained in yourself over the years. Try that out. See how that works for you. You make another friend or two. Who fucking knows?
It's
I know I'm a bit much. I'm sorry. Like I
no,
said,
you're absolutely fine. You're fine. And honestly, I by the way, I really every time we have somebody come on the show, I really always express how much I love this feature.
Appreciate it. I'm always happy to jump on. I'm always happy to.
Absolutely no. I haven't been able to watch y'all show lately because I've been really busy.
It's all right. Ain't nobody watching anybody, which is really weird. I noticed that like a lot of people's viewerships have been going down in the last week or so. It's really odd. Apparently, there's something going on with YouTube's like their transmission of people's like subscriptions and all that.
Lately, our numbers have gone up because we've been talking about very controversial subjects lately. Our numbers on YouTube went up a little bit. We went from like 2 or 3 or 10 to like 50 to 100 because they're very controversial. No, but I just wanted to share. No, I apologize. I haven't been able to watch your show a lot lately because I announced on Wednesday that I've been going to the gym lately. So
I noticed you've been putting it down. You've been throwing it down like a motherfucker. I'm very happy for you, man.
Thank you very much. So I've been I've just been really busy, man. So I apologize because I always listen to y'all show, but I've also not gotten any notifications for your show, and I have not, and I have the bell. I'll get notifications for your short videos, but not when you go live.
That is bizarre. I have no idea why they're doing that. Like I said, it's really strange. And we go live more often than we put up our short videos. Like we put our short videos, which are clips of the.
Your short videos are clips of the live stream. I know because I've watched them. I watched the live streams. With that being said, and look, here's the thing. I don't want everyone to get like the bad idea of the Texas Renaissance Festival community. There are a lot of people that are very conservative, but they're amazing people. They're great people. They're very nice people.
Right. Of course, one asshole doesn't speak for the whole bunch.
Right. No, he doesn't speak for everybody, but he does speak for a small group of people that go to this shit and have that same mentality.
And that's depressing. That's pretty sad right there, man. Like there's got to be a delineation. There's got to be at some point where folks are going to have to like, hey, dude, you're kind of being a dick and you're painting the bunch of us in the wrong way. And not only is this affecting us as a business, because you got to remember, we're all supposed to be working in a business group over here. We're all supposed to be trying to engender a business that's supposed to spread out and that's supposed to appeal to the most people possible. And guess what? There's a lot more folks who don't think like you than do. So you're going to want to try to ratchet that back if you want this business to survive. But not only that, you're also affecting us in a personal way, because when folks see that we're a member of this group and we're seeing an asshole like you speaking up nice and big and loud, they're painting us with the same broad stroke that you're painting everyone else. So you're affecting us in a business matter, you're affecting us in a personal matter, and you need to either shut the fuck up or get the fuck out. Cut this shit out.
Right.
Like at some point, there's got to be some sort of breaking point for that.
Quick shout out to TJ from the Black Table Podcast. What's up, man? Thank you so much for having me on your show last night. I know I said thank you to you last night after the show was over, but thank you so much for having me on your show. One day, hopefully, I'll be on the Ravens flock.
You know what? Like, we are live Saturday night, 7:30 Eastern to 9 p.m. Eastern. If we manage to throw down for like an open mic or whatever to bring folks in, that's fine. We got no issues with that. Or you could just jump in this Wednesday when we're going to be doing the Black Files. Normally, we don't advertise what the topic is going to be for the Black Files because we want folks to like be surprised on what we're going to be discussing there. Usually, it's one topic instead of like a bunch of them, and it's usually the harder shit, like stuff that's going on with you guys in Texas and Renaissance Festival community. There, we're actually trying to figure out what hot topic we want to talk about on Wednesday, and just focus on that for the whole show. So if you want to jump in on that, feel free. Let us know.
If I may suggest a topic, and this is something that I wanted to cover next week on the Trash Talk podcast, is the lieutenant that shoved. The staff sergeant, Jonathan Pantalones. I don't know the fuck his name. Yeah, I'm gonna call him Jonathan Pantalones.
All right.
He confronted the black teenager who was jogging on the sidewalk and was threatening to physically remove him if he didn't get out of his neighborhood. Did you hear about this?
Shit. Oh, I think I've heard of this story. I think I saw it.
There's even room. One of his friends even said that, he was dying of COVID. That's why he was reacting the way he was acting. So this man just went out there and threatened this kid without a mask on while having COVID.
So
that makes it worse.
So this guy decides, hey, I'm going to be an ecological terrorist by like harassing a kid who lives in his own neighborhood. Yeah, sure. That's a great cover story, pal.
Serenity,
next thing we'll hear is he'll say that his Xanax made him racist too. Sure.
I do have all their I do have all the notification channel turned on. It's just that YouTube, not just us, Review Tech USA, other YouTubers, and I say Review Tech USA because I follow him as well. A lot of YouTubers, big YouTubers, like hundreds of thousands, millions of subscriber YouTubers, have shared and these same grievances as to where not everyone is getting notified when people go live or share their videos, because YouTube's algorithm is constantly changing and is constantly fucking up the community for a lot of us.
It's a wild roulette wheel that's being spun by a madman who's snorting crack and being pecked in the face by a gorilla. That's the best way that I could describe the algorithm right now. And I know that doesn't make any sense, but then again, neither does the algorithm on YouTube. That shit don't make sense.
Who the fuck just sent me? I'm sorry. I don't know why the fuck am I on Facebook? No. Somebody just sent me I got a notification for a random friend request.
Oh, I got some weird ones too. Those are all like, oh, hey, check this website, and they totally have like pornography on the thumbnail, and they're like, they're not even trying anymore.
Yeah, you're right.
They're getting lazy. Step up your game, spam bots. Lure me in. Try to say that you know me.
Just a couple of quick announcements because we're only on here. We're not on here as long as we normally are. So we're doing a Resident Evil 8 giveaway contest. So if you want to go ahead and check that out, we have our post on our Facebook page. I'm going to go ahead and pin the post. But all you have to do is take a picture of your Resident Evil collection or your gaming collection and then tag Geeks5Ever. The tag, I got to look for the tag, but I'll let y'all know. The contest ends May 30th. We will announce a winner. The winner will receive a free copy of Resident Evil 8 The Village on the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One for whichever the day of that it's released. Now, what we can do is the way it's going to work. Is I can have Amazon ship it to a locker, you can go pick it up, or I can just buy the game digitally, get the code, and then send it to you. We'll figure it out. We might even offer it with Steam. So we'll let everybody know. But with that being said, freedom of speech, people feel that their freedom of speech is being taken away. I don't feel like that's the case. Now, granted, there are certain things that we can no longer say that was okay, that you could get away with 10, 15, 20 years ago. Absolutely. There are things like people made gay jokes and it wasn't what's the word? No, I'm not going to say it was okay, but it wasn't
poor taste. It wasn't.
It was in poor taste, but it was you weren't.
But it wasn't like it was. It was in poor taste, but it wasn't exactly intended as directly homophobic. That's that's basically the thing on there.
Mm-hmm.
Like
right.
Like I mentioned with me using the R word for mentally deficient people on there. One example that comes up is is Eminem. He was over here calling people the other F word on there, like left and right in his rap, but he wasn't meaning that as like being homophobic. He was meaning that as like you're acting like a dumbass, you're acting like an asshole, you're acting like that. And that was part of his vernacular. It was part of him growing up in Detroit, and that's part of like just how his vernacular and how his vocabulary had evolved. And folks, for the generality, like understood that. A lot of folks didn't. A lot of folks still wanted to call him homophobic and try to call him like, "Oh, you're a horrible person for using this shit." Until he fucking blew their minds away by performing one of his biggest hits alongside Sir Elton John at the fucking Grammys. So he literally went on to say he even went on as an interview afterwards saying like, "Go ahead, call me homophobic now, sure," because someone who's homophobic totally wouldn't put their career on the line or put their street cred on the line to perform with probably one of the most out gay men in all of music. And it's not because he's like, oh, I don't like him because he's gay or whatever. He literally goes over here. It's like, okay, I recognize your style. I recognize that you're an icon in music, and I want to work with you. Yeah, and I want to shut these assholes up at the same time. So, because that's not the way I think about people. So, like, it comes down to implicit intent in a lot of the vernacular as been used nowadays, and folks believe that now that we're trying to move forward and we're trying to have a little more representation for folks in the gay community, folks who are people of color like ourselves, folks who are like who don't conform to gender forms or to gender identities, and oh, I can't use this anymore because they're gonna get mad at me. How dare no, you recognize what you're trying to use that word for. Recognize what you're intending for. Just use a different word for it. Look, big fucking deal. You're rubbing an extra couple brain cells together. It might take you a while, but you can do it. You're only human. Come on.
Right. I had to go on the just real quick. Just wanted to share everybody what we were talking about earlier. If you're just joining us, it was an individual from the Texas Renaissance Festival community. A lot of people seem to know who he is in that community, but it's the one line right here. It says most of us want to put adult pedophiles on the ground and with lead poisoning. So if you want to use the same vehemence, I can't pronounce that fucking word. I'm sorry, vehemence. We can get the wall built. Post snipers on top and just start shooting them as they attempt to cross. The children are low to the ground. Most of them won't get hit.
And he thinks there's no problem with talking like this shit? Okay, like really, man?
I know we hear stories.
He missed a neuron there. He
right.
missed a step.
Absolutely. We hear these stories. We hear these stories all the time where people say these horrible fucking things or talk about these most horrible things. And a lot of the times we just hear about it. We don't see. We have videos now on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Social media is bringing a lot of light. Not everyone is racist, but a lot of people seem to be okay with the racism. And
like that's that's been a problem that I'm over here dealing with directly. Like I've got a friend who, like, I know for a fact she isn't racist as hell. I know for a fact that she isn't like that kind of person. She's a very loving person. She's a very open person, but she has no problem aligning with like different politicians and different groups who have homophobia in their rhetoric, who have racism in their rhetoric, who have transphobia in their rhetoric, and she's got no problem with that. I got to like anytime she tries to like call me, tell me like, "Hey, you don't think I did anything wrong?" I got to break it down to her, and somehow she misses a neuron again. Like this one guy over here, she misses a step, thinks that I'm just talking down to her, thinks that I'm just trying to preach to her. She came to me for advice. She came to me asking whether or not she did the right thing. I'm breaking down to her and telling her, "No, this is how you. This is what went wrong. This is how you can avoid that. This is what you need to understand." And then she fucking drops it off and dismisses it afterwards. So I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, either she's trying to justify it herself in her head, or she doesn't really want to learn. She wants to make a paper effort or like a blank, a hollow attempt to try to look like she's not behaving like these folks, but she's not going to really want to make the change. She's too inert in it. She's too ingrained in that mentality. So
Right.
I'm disappointed.
And we're gonna get back into our subject as to the freedom of speech aspect, where this into like people like them that say, because I don't know your friend personally, I don't know, I've never seen anything that they posted, but based on what I've seen, based on the shit that people post and say and all the time, they'll say shit like, "Oh, let's shoot them, let's just fucking shoot them, and that'll solve the fucking problem." Okay, and this is the part of the show where I stop being fucking like, I know I'm trying to be more and more professional and be more like, okay, yeah, okay. Now this is part of the show where I call everybody punk ass bitches. Okay, listen here, guy. I'm not gonna say your fucking name on my show because one, I don't want to give you publicity. Not like last week on Monday. We're not gonna talk about last week on Monday, but this time I'm not gonna put your fucking name on the show. But listen here, you stupid punk ass bitch. You are a racist piece of fucking shit, dude. I know you personally. I've met you. You are a fucking asshole. There's a reason why. Well, first off, I'm not going to talk about what you look like because but
we could
you are an older dude and you live out in bum fucking nowhere. You don't live in a city. Okay, so I have nothing against people that live in small towns, but that seems to be like common. It seems to be much more common in a smaller town than it does in a bigger city. And I'm sorry, apologize if you have any statistics or any actual evidence to prove that I am wrong. I'm willing to see and listen to you and hear what you have to say, and I will do a retraction. However, that does seem to be the norm based on interaction with people. Now, statistics work and statistics are good, but remember, those are also based on perspective because they ask a circle of people the same question. They don't ask everybody in the country that same question.
Right.
With that being,
go ahead, continue. I didn't mean to. I was just saying.
No, you're fine. You're fine. This dude is one of those fucking people. They're like, "Oh, we have freedom of speech. We can express ourselves." But the moment I run around in a poncho and sombrero with my Mexican flag, I'm an asshole. I'm the piece of shit. I need to stop. One of these bitches threatened to fucking shoot me. Oh,
are you
I can't. Me? I'm not even fucking kidding. One of them did. One of them threatened to shoot me because, "Oh, you pieces of shit, all y'all do is burn the American flag." First off, motherfucker, I don't do that. Secondly, it's legal. It's people's right. I don't agree with it, but it is legal, and it's people's right to protest the way they see fit. Third, like, you run around here with all your Scottish, Viking, England, French, white European stuff, because that is your ancestral background, right? That is where your people come from, right? Why can't my ancestral background are native Aztec Mayans. But I'm not called native in this country. You know what I'm called? A Mexican. And like a lot of you people, like the small town racist people, when I say you people, I mean the small town racist people. And I don't care if y'all give me like, what do you mean by you people? I went specific. Small town racist people. y'all automatically assume that if we look Latino, then we all must be from Mexico.
I can't begin to tell you how many fucking times that's happened to me. I probably as American as you can get. I was born and raised in New York City. I was born and raised in Queens. I fell asleep to the number 7 train that takes you from Flushing Meadows Park all the way over to Times Square in the middle of Manhattan. I was born and raised there, and I lived half of my life up in New York City. I came down to Florida, where guess fucking what? In Tampa is where the New York Yankees come to train. So I can't escape the Yankees to save my fucking life. And yet, no matter where I fucking go, I've had dirty motherfuckers. Some I've had the displeasure to have to employ me over here trying to call me like saying that, oh hey, so you're a dirty Mexican, right? You like tacos and burritos, right? To my face in front of customers in a place of business, talking like a fucking entitled jackass piece of crap. And I had to tell him to his face in front of those people, no, that's not how I am. That's what you said is fucking wrong. I'm a native born American. I like me some steak. I like some sushi. I do enjoy the occasional taco, especially if my wife or I prepare it ourselves, because we're the bomb like that.
I think sushi is probably not the best example. I'm an American. I love Japanese food.
Well, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay, no, I got you. I actually want to
go
back to what you said earlier. You said you're a Yankee?
Yes, I am a goddamn Yankee. I was born and raised in New York City. I moved down to Tampa, Florida. I can't escape the Yankees to save my life.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay. I use it sometimes for self-derision, sometimes as a joke. I've got a friend who's Canadian who's a big hockey fan, and he's like, "Hey, everyone, why don't you show me what kind of teams you support?" I just throw up a GIF of the New York Yankees, like, "You don't want me to get into it."
Yeah, no, I'm from. I'm still. I might be a Latino, but I'm still a Texan.
Yeah, see, there you go.
So when people say I'm a Yankee, I'm just like, ooh, gross.
It's okay. It's okay.
Nothing against you.
Don't sweat it. Like, look, the fact of the matter is, like I said, when you've got motherfuckers who are so ingrained and so entitled to themselves, who've never been told no in their lives, who've never been told anything other than any sort of opinion that clashes with their already preset worldview, when they see someone whose very existence clashes with everything they believe in, they lose their fucking marbles. They blow a gasket. You can't get Bill Gates to build a microchip fast enough to save their fucking brain. They are that fucked in the head. And all that comes from...
But with all that, because a lot of that is very relative, but it kind of goes into a different subject.
That goes more into upbringing. That goes more into environmental.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But like with people, and I want to get your thoughts on something. And I want to get everybody that's watching your thoughts on this. When Senor, he's not president anymore, whatever. When Donald Trump was kicked off Twitter, for whatever reason, we're not going to go over it. For whatever reason he was kicked off Twitter, people were saying that they were violating freedom of speech. And a lot of people, and I don't know if you're guilty of this, but whenever we sign up for social media, we skip over the terms and conditions. They're like, oh, this legal bullshit, just accept.
Yeah, I've done it. We've all done it. I did it back in MySpace. I did it when I tried to make an Angel Fire website powered by Lycos.com back in the late 90s when I was trying to learn web design. So yeah, we all did it.
The question is, with him starting his own social media, how bad do you think that's going to be if whatever is said on there is not regulated? Because remember, it's like in the Boondocks. Sometimes it doesn't take much to incite a riot.
No, just throw a folding chair.
Yeah.
But this, if the rumors are true and this guy is really trying to go ahead and start up his own social media, what he's really trying to do is he's trying to build up an in crowd, a bubble for himself, and a bubble for other folks who think like, in order for them to go ahead and continue propagating their closed-minded views. Now, granted, if that is enshrined in their terms of service to be as racist and homophobic and misogynistic as whatever the fuck they want, if that's protected in their speech in their website, then fuck all. I don't know who could stop that. At the end of the day, but at the end of the day, he was taken off of Twitter because the speech that he was propagating on that website incited a riot on the capital in the country in which this fucking website is housed. If shit goes down
Hold
like, I don't know, an attack, that kind of hits their bottom line. No, he's got a phone call. I'm literally over here getting late cooking dinner. So
no, it's fine. You're
no.
fine. You're fine.
Yeah.
I got a random phone call. I was trying to see if it was important. It wasn't. But and let's just put it out there. Freedom of speech only works on a federal level, on a government, local government, state government level.
Right.
Private businesses such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, doesn't matter. They have the legal right to kick you off. And with that being said, freedom of speech also means, like, I don't know if it directly means, but businesses can, like, just like how Twitter and YouTube and all these places can kick you off, businesses can refuse the right to serve anyone they choose. And I'm going to get shit for this. And I know I'm going to get shit for this, but just hear me out, everybody in the comment section.
Everybody grab your broomstick.
Everybody grab your fucking broom, grab your pitchforks and torches, because it's about to go down. That bakery that turned down to make the cake for that gay couple, they have absolute every right to do so. It is their right to
as much a
refuse
pain in the ass as it is. You're not wrong.
It's wrong. It's not right, but it is their right to refuse to do it. And it is well within their constitutional rights to say, no, we're not going to make this. Take your business somewhere else. And people, these fucking people that were claiming, oh, my freedom of speech is being violated, they were very vocal in supporting this decision. Like, yeah, that's right. Freedom of speech, freedom of speech, freedom of speech. You know, we're going to, that goes against our religious views. So we're going to censor the shit out of you. You know, we don't want you to express yourself because we don't agree with it. You should not be allowed to have this because we don't agree with it. This is what they had. This is what a lot of them were saying. But now that they are being targeted for saying bigotry and hate speech, homophobic, transphobic speech, they are now saying, oh, we're being targeted by the snowflakes that just want everything handed to them on a silver platter.
No, buddy. It's the door swings both ways on this. Just as much of a pain in the ass as it is to have to say, yeah, that bakery had that right. It's if it's a place of business, they had that right. It's a pain in the ass, but they had that right. If that is what they wanted to do, if that's how they wanted to operate. When you take that same logic and you apply it the same way to a social media platform, then yes, the social media platform has the right to refuse business to you if you are being an asshole. If
That's
you
right.
are if you're propagating something that they don't like.
Absolutely.
Like, they can't have it both ways. They're trying to have it both ways, and they're trying to cloak themselves in the First Amendment.
Well, they don't want it. I'm going to disagree with you there. They don't want it both ways. They want it their way.
Exactly, they want it their way. That's what I'm saying.
Because and that was my point. That's why I brought up the bakery, because these people fought so hard to censor this couple's wedding cake. They're like, no, it's their right. They can refuse service. They can kick them out. They don't have to do anything for them. Nobody can force them. Absolutely, you are correct. With that being said, you should agree with the fucking fact that social media has the right to kick your stupid ass off their platform when you say dumb ass shit.
Like, and that's exactly what they were like. No, we don't want it applied that way for us. We just want it to apply to these guys. So you want a theocracy. So you want a bigoted society. Is that what you're trying to say? Like, they're the thing is that they're so inured. They're trying so hard not to admit what they really want. They want they want basically, and I'm just like catching back up with what was said one time beautifully by uh, by Jeff Daniels on the HBO show The Newsroom. They want the American Taliban to be in charge. Basically, they want like super religiosity. They want women down on their under the thumb. They want all other religions but Christianity like drilled out of the face of the earth. And if you don't support the holy ghost of Ronald Reagan, then you're a horrible, horrible person. You need to be burnt to death. They want that psychotic form of world because that's what they think the founding fathers would have wanted. But no, that's not how this shit rolls, buddy. The dumbest thing about a democracy is that everyone has.
I have to look up how many of the founding fathers that signed the Declaration of Independence were actually behind the
Right.
constitutional government that we currently have today. Because remember, a lot of the people in this country don't actually know the actual history of this country. The now people don't know this, but George Washington is the first president under the current governing body of the United States.
Yeah, we
He
had
wa-
the Articles of Confederation before that for a couple of
Mhm.
years, and everything was kind of bedlam.
It was 10
I
years.
don't
I think James Madison was the first president.
right, and I don't remember who it was that wanted to write that wrote a letter to Washington, basically saying like, "Hey, we need to federalize these states. We need to unite them under a federal government. Would you kindly be our king, please?"
Uh,
Like,
I
I
stand
don't remember
corrected.
who
I'm
it was.
sorry. I stand corrected as John Henson.
John Hanson. Yeah, there we go. That's the one. No,
Okay,
not James Madison.
right. No,
Yeah, no,
I do stand corrected. But with that being said, he was the actual first president of the
like,
Union, which it was not
yep,
called the United States at the time; it was called the Union. And even then, I think it was
yep,
just called the colonies.
yeah, the United Colonies or whatever, like the American colonies or something like that. It was weird. We had a really weird transitional period between the end of the Revolutionary War and the actual formation of the United States of America as we currently recognize it
hmm
under the Constitution and all that good jazz. But yeah, it's not like we just jumped straight from being a ragtag bunch of colonies who literally owed our lives to the French and the Native Americans that we so blatantly backstabbed to death like crazy after we got started.
Whoa,
Um,
whoa, whoa, whoa! I
oh
don't know where
yeah,
this "we" is coming from.
I'm not saying I'm saying we as in the original American 13 colonies that were in the Revolutionary War. That's what I mean. We
Well,
in general.
yeah,
As
I
sad
guess
as
if
it
it
is,
wasn't for
we are
them,
the
I
progenitors. It's a pain in the ass, but he's like, you
it
get
is.
what I'm trying to say. It's
No,
such a
I absolutely
catalytic.
do. I guess if it wasn't for them, I'd still be building pyramids in Central America.
Look, don't
But
get so hung up on the word. Find the meaning behind the words, then decide. Yeah, just threw some MGS2 for you there, pal.
there you go.
You're big on Metal Gear Solid.
I'm actually not, believe it or not.
Oh, try it out sometime. It's a gateway drug to crack.
I did. I didn't really like the movie.
There's no movie yet.
I played Metal Gear Solid 4.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that's the movie, all right. That's the worst way to start. You have to start
But
with the original.
oh, motherfucker! It's one of these Bitcoin miner, trader, investor, fake profile people.
Oh, jeez, I hate those. I absolutely despise them. Jesus Christ on a stick. Can you like? How are so many of those weird like coin mining oh you can become an investor with me fucking profiles? I get them on Instagram too. It's such a
Mm-hmm.
pain. It's such a
Uh,
pain.
just any thoughts on the people that talk about their freedom of speech being taken away? I think the reason why, no, everybody agrees that the universal reasoning between a lot of people is that people are now being held accountable for their actions and the way they express themselves, and now there's actual consequences. People are now losing their jobs whenever they say something racist or they say bigotry, they say homophobic, transphobic, anything. They say any kind of hate speech. Because I've watched the Crowder Louder with Crowder show,
Uh-huh.
and okay, I'm not a Democrat and I'm not a Republican. I'm a forward. I'm an independent. And I believe a lot of people have a lot of good points, but at the same time, they don't fully understand or grasp the situation that it uh so he talks about there is no hate speech. like hate speech is like not real.
Is he sure about that? I was about to say, like, as having been on the receiving end of hate speech myself, I would like to respectfully disagree with that one there. Like, the trouble that he's got is that Crowder tries to equivocate the stuff like, oh, it's just a different opinion. It's just, oh, hey, this person just thinks differently. And if you're not a fan of thinking differently, you're not a fan of democracy. Like, okay, my thinking differently is I believe I should be given human rights. And the other side basically saying, no, I don't think so. That's not something that you could debate. That's not something that you could really debate on good faith in terms of in terms of it being hate speech or not. Why? Like that's the thing that I don't get about guys like Crowder. They try to equivocate everything like, oh, it's just a matter of opinion, and opinions are a good thing to have. That sort of reductive reasoning doesn't fly when you're trying to start on like one base fact of wasn't one of the first things that we said as a country is all men are created equal. We've just expanded that over the past 240 years to try to mean all peoples, not just white men who own land, but also like women, also people of color, also disabled folks who still have a lot of liberties that they can't have. Also, people from the LGBT community who are like horribly mistreated to this day. Like, so what if we're expanding this shit? Wouldn't that expansion be a good thing?
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to start at that base level with someone who isn't arguing on faith on good in good faith at that base level at least. It doesn't fly. The guy argues that like, no, it's just a difference of opinion. Well, the opinion you're trying to have is I shouldn't be permitted to live free. That's the opinion that you're having, and that's fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, tell me I'm making sense here, at least. I hope.
I was trying to look up something while you were speaking. So there's a very popular conservative news anchor who is known as Tucker Carlson.
Sorry, it's an automatic response when I hear that Stoops is his name. Sorry, please continue.
Fuck. He works for Fox News.
Again, it's totally involuntary. Sorry, I'm trying to calm down.
Okay, so this is from salon.com. Tucker Carlson rant draws shift criticism. ADL calls for Fox News to fire host. He said some things on his show. Fox News host Tucker Carlson is facing another backlash, this time for endorsing the Great Replacement conspiracy theory that has been used by white supremacists. On Thursday, Carlson claimed that the Democratic Party is trying to replace the current elaborate with the new people, more obedient voters from the third world. He added that the left and all the little gatekeepers on Twitter became literally hysterical if they used the term replacement. The Great Replacement theory is a xenophobic and anti-Semitic conspiracy. Racist extremists like Tucker will only amplify more as climate change increasingly drives dislocation and migration. Jewish progressive group, if not now, said in a statement to the fight for Jewish safety is the fight for migrant and climate justice. So I saw the clip and he said some pretty awful things about immigrants coming here and like constantly flooding in and constantly coming in here, and that they're going to replace people like him. He said these things and they are very so someone like him, they are like, I don't know him personally. I don't watch his shit, obviously, because I think he's a fucking idiot. But he says some dumbass shit. And then he gets all defensive when people come after him. Like, oh, like, you need to leave me alone. You're being a
like,
snowflake.
How dare you? I'm not. Like, okay, this is again a dude who's never been told no a day in his life, except when he came face to face with Jon Stewart. I don't know if you know the tale of that at all. Do you?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
John who?
Jon Stewart, the Daily Show. Jon Stewart. He died before Trevor Noah, the comedian.
No, I don't know the story behind it.
Okay, millions of years ago in the far-off land of 2004, I think, Tucker Carlson and some other poor staff who got saddled with him were working on MSNBC on a debate entertainment show called Crossfire. Like, he was the token conservative, the other dude was the token liberal. They would have like a half-hour show where they would try to debate all sorts of different political topics, and it was more show theater than actual proper discussion. They had the nerve to bring Jon Stewart in on the show as their special guest, and he went and basically tore Tucker Carlson to ribbons.
Oh, wow.
Go ahead and look it up sometime. Just look up Jon Stewart, Crossfire, Tucker Carlson. Look it up. It is a great laugh. It is beautiful. This guy had, like, you got to understand, Tucker Carlson has basically grown up with a silver spoon up his ass. He is the heir of the Swanson fucking food family company. And he tries to act like he's like the big everyday man who's just a working Joe like you and me. And we're just regular working guys, except he lives in a fucking mansion and is the inheritor of a food empire. And he's married to another fucking heiress somewhere else. And he tries to come off as this dude who's so totally normal, and he just has questions. He just has opinions. When his questions and opinions have a very thick glaze, as in like caked over 5-day-old bacon grease on your pan, thick glaze of anti-Semitism, of racism, of misogyny, and plenty of homophobia layered in on that shit. But he's just asking questions, quote unquote. And when we call him out on his bullshit, when people call him like, dude, that's kind of, you know, clanny of you, pal. It's like, how dare you? I am not that kind of guy. I wear a suit. I am a normal dude. How dare you? Motherfucker, please. Mother Tucker, please.
Motherfucker. Piece of shit.
I hope you'll pardon the mess and sound over here. I'm late in making dinner over here, and I'm starving. I made a fucking beautiful New York strip steak.
I mean, you're fine, dude. You're absolutely fine. We understand.
I appreciate it.
People got lives. My room's a fucking mess, honestly. I'm waiting on my second monitor to show up, but I got a big ass box. I got a new computer monitor mount. It's gonna be able to. I got one of those mounts where you can put two monitors on it at once. It's gonna be it's long ways instead of side by side. It's one on top of the other because I don't have a lot of space in my bedroom, as you can tell. It's tiny.
Oh, that is nice.
Thank you.
I'm happy for you.
Thank you. I've gotten like a bunch of new shit trying to improve the channel. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and show everybody that's watching the channel right now. So I got my new monitor, ultra wide, one of these ultra wide screens. And that's where the second monitor is going to go, waiting for it to arrive in the mail tomorrow. And those are all my video games.
You're pretty good. That is cool. That is very cool. I'm happy for you, pal.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Random Screening in the Background.
Thanks for the yawning there, honey. You made it on the air. She woohoos for you. That would be my wife case for saying hello.
Hey, I'd rather be. Hey, good for you, man. You're married. You're not single and alone like the rest of us.
No, it's wonderful. We've been together. Wow. Hold on. Yeah, we've been married 12 years. We've been together longer than that.
Cool. Really cool. Dee Dee says cool.
Cool. Thank you, Dee Dee.
I want to thank. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Unfortunately, the last week we were on here way too long, and I had to cut my workout short. I'm not going to do that shit today. I actually have to go to the gym in hopefully 30 minutes or 45 or an hour. I want to be there by 9:30. So the gym's only about 7-minute, 10-minute drive. So luckily it's not very far. With that being said,
get those gains, man.
Yeah, I got to, man. Got to get. I'm tired of being fat.
Well, while you're doing that, at the risk of involuntary salivation for anybody here, this is what I got on the menu for tonight. For folks, I don't know if you can see this beautiful giant. New York strip
I
state,
fucking hate you.
diplomat state of the fourth. Yo, man, like
Man.
if I would need to come down to Texas, or you need to come up to Florida sometime. I will like
I
a
hate
treat.
you because that looks good and I can't cook to save my own life.
That's all right, man. If you need me to, I'll fly over to Texas one day. I will show you how. I will show you the way. I will. If you come up to Florida, I will treat you like a king. I will feed you as such. That's the kind of house guest I. That's the kind of way I treat my
You
house guest.
you are like, hey man, come over and just never leave. That's all I heard.
I don't know about
Just
never leave. I mean, I'd have to explain, like, hi, landlord, about the extra 500
I'm
people that I have.
Mexican. I know I'm Mexican. I got ways around. I got a dog costume. I got a cat costume. I got a tree costume. Your landlord's gonna like come over and be like, and I'm gonna see the landlord. I'm gonna be like sitting on the couch smoking a blunt, like, sup? I mean, a wolf.
Jesus, man, you're killing
I
me.
I mean bark. Sup?
You nearly blew a gasket for the pet rabbit I own, man. What am I gonna do with the dog?
I like, hey, yeah. So hey, Flan, I would have been meaning to talk to you. There's a grown ass man outside dressed like a tree. Hey, I told you, I'm
Yo,
not a grown ass man. I am a tree. Tree.
yo,
Tree.
how can you be disrespecting nature like that, man?
I
You
know,
go up to
right?
that tree and apologize to him. All right? You're lucky if he doesn't smack you. You know trees are gonna take over the world again? Once we're gone, didn't you hear the weird video from Julianne Moore? They're gonna take over, and we're gonna be sorry, and we're gonna be freaking gone, and she's gonna take the planet back, and there's nothing we can do about it. So you go and you apologize to that tree. You
Right.
apologize.
Apologize. I'm a tree. And I provide Wi-Fi too. So you lucky.
Exactly.
Okay. Just a quick. Wanna just before I start wrapping it up, I wanted to give everybody some insights on the Geeks 5 Hour giveaway. You can win a copy of Resident Evil 8 The Village. All you have to do is take a photo of your gaming collection with a sign that says G5E RE8 giveaway. On Facebook, send the photo through direct message or in the comment section with the hashtag G5E giveaway. Or you can even make the post yourself on your Facebook page or your own personal Facebook page and use the hashtag. Also on Twitter as well. Mention us at Geeks5 with the hashtag G5E giveaway. Entries will be entered in a random drawing, and the winner will be announced April 30th. And we might even stream the random drawing. So that might be cool. So what it is you're going to win a free copy of Resident Evil 8 The Village the day it comes out. That is absolutely right. There is no raffles. There's no entry fees. All you have to do, you don't even have to like and follow the page. All you have to do is just follow the rules on there. You got until April 30th. We'll announce the winner during the podcast. And good luck to all the entries. After that is over, we will be giving away 2 free badges plus $50 to Delta HCon in Houston, Texas, July 17th through the 19th. I apologize. I meant July 16th through the 18th in Houston, Texas at the West Chase Marriott. We haven't decided on what kind of competition we are going to have, but we will have those details soon. Also, Delta HCon did announce that they're not changing their dates. Plus, the PlayStation Store said they will not be shutting down the PS3 and Vita. So victory, victory, victory for nerds and geeks everywhere. I want to thank Fawn from the Ravens Flock for joining us today. You can check out the Ravens Flock on YouTube at youtube.com/the Ravens Flock. The Black Files on Wednesdays. Their live stream on Saturdays. What's up?
Yep. No, I was saying thank you for that. Yeah, the Black Files, our uncensored, uncompromising podcast, Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern. Our main program, The Ravens Flock, every Saturday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You can speak with myself, our show host, Jose Casabona, the living id of our group, Angel Mendez. We talk about geek culture. We talk about news in the cosplay community. We talk about all sorts of fun, crazy shit. We just addressed the whole thing of the PlayStation Store shutting down on Saturday. So this is a nice turn of events over here that they're deciding not to shut it off. So, like you said, V for victory there.
That's right. You can check out their uncensored, unsanctioned, no holds bar, smackdown in your face, check you into the Smackdown Hotel, stop a mud hole in your ass, and walk it dry podcast every Saturday. And they hold no bar, they hold nothing back. whatsoever. I'm talking about
You don't give a
chairs,
damn.
tables, ladders. This man
And
even called somebody out on his channel. Was like, "What? Square up, square up. Where you at? Where you at? Where you is?"
I've been saying that. I say that shit to disgusting online YouTube pedophiles like Onision. I'm glad that he got demonetized. I say that shit to TikTok kids who are trying to box YouTubers. Maybe that's for fun. I don't know. That depends on if he ever answers me. I say that shit to conventions being assholes. I say that shit to conventions not being assholes. I say that shit to everybody, and I don't give a damn.
Matsuri.
Oh yeah. Oh hell yeah. Oh hell to the yeah. You don't come after YouTubers. They try to come after Stars and Stars. We come back and we kick them in the balls. I don't give a damn. It might be hard to
Right.
find, especially for this fucking guy, but we'll find him eventually. We'll find his balls wherever they may be
Find his balls. Well, first off,
and kick them. You know, they're so
you're
small.
you're
They're so hard
you're
to
you're
find.
you're assuming a lot, sir. How dare you assume he has a pair?
Yeah, true. Well, it's anything can happen.
Also, you're right. Anything can happen, but I know the owners personally, and
oh shit.
I do, and I that's why I was saying, like, I know them on a personal level. We were actually friends at one point.
Ah shit. Are you serious?
Yes,
Oh
but
boy.
fuck Enemy Matsuri. Fuck the staff. I
Holy
don't know
shit.
anything about the staff, but fuck the people that get paid that are on staff.
Oh god, yeah, no, definitely. If
Because
you ever come across that son of a bitch again, tell him to the Braves box is high.
no, I won't because I'm banned. I'm banned and
Uh,
blocked from all their Enemy Matsuri bullshit.
bullshit. That's a bitch move. Last
Fuck it.
time I
Then
had to ban block
that
someone
just
because
means
of what
I'm
I was
making
damn so
waves. I'm making waves enough to get banned.
indeed.
But today we talked about freedom of speech. Next week I know I said the subject earlier, but I'm still going to finalize the subject and I'll announce it later this week. Once again, thank you Fawn for joining me. Also, make sure you guys also check out the Black Table podcast. I will be on their show again on Sunday, and they will be on our show Monday for a giant XL podcast. By the way, Fawn, you are invited if you do have the time, or your brother Jose.
What time is that?
Same time as today.
So that's on Wednesday. You said
No, Monday.
that's next Monday. Okay, I will put aside time for that, and I will see if I can show up. I
That's
appreciate
it.
you.
It's our XL podcast, so it's going to be like a lot of people on here. But we are talking about
Nice.
cancel culture, both sides of the spectrum, both the
Oh shit.
people that fight for equality and people that fight for whatever the fuck they want to say. We're gonna tackle both sides because there are people that have gone after Pepe Le Pew, Speedy Gonzalez, Eminem, Elvis, heavy metal, Magic the Gathering.
They go after Lil Nas X for like they forget they forget the part where he breaks the devil's neck at the end of the video. Isn't that sort of like a good thing? I don't know, but maybe that's just
Yeah.
me paying attention.
Yeah, but there are also people out there that support artists such as South Park Mexican who sexually assaulted a 13-year-old.
And that person needs to go die in a boiling vat of acid.
There are people out there that say, I hate social justice war, I hate social justice warriors, and I hate cancel culture. And yet this individual, I don't have the proof. That's why I don't say his name. I don't say who he is. I don't have we all saw it. We all saw him hit on this girl. The girl was not only, she wasn't interested in him. She likes girls, and she was 16 at the time.
Disgusting. I've got one just like that right now. One of the things that we're doing on the Black Files, we're actually working on the takedown of now former owner of Lumicon down here, Rudy Gomez, after allegations have been coming out of him having sexual relations with minors over the years. So he's now formerly the owner of Lumicon. Thank God for that. And we're just hoping to see that this actually gets taken to the next step, where there should definitely be legal consequences for what this fucking guy has done.
Well,
And there's more than just one lady, so yep, definitely follow up with that.
Let me know if you're ever looking to have guests on your show. Like I'll come and like I'll talk shit all day, every day. You already know me. Like I hold nothing back. But
Right
with
on.
that being said, make sure y'all check out the Ravens vlog. Make sure y'all check out the Black Table podcast. We have so many guests that are coming in, other podcasters joining in. We are Geeks Forever. We are trying to help everybody. Yes, we do say some dumb shit. Yes, I do talk out of my ass sometimes. Sometimes I do go overboard, and I should have really thought about what I said before I said it. But I own up to it. I admit I make mistakes. I admit I'm a human being. I'm not perfect. I admit that sometimes I just go a little, the Latino in me just kicks in and I just go a little overboard. And you know how some Latinos are. We just, if you cut us off in traffic, we just yell at you, quítate, desgraciado, lárgate, cabrón.
Oye, este cara de verga, ¿cómo me vas a cortar como así? ¿Cómo me va a faltar el respeto así?
Oh, yeah,
Are you
no, I fucking
kidding?
yell.
Yeah.
I was like, pinche baboso. Pero, now you got me talking Spanish.
Yeah.
Pero, si
Don't
estás
get
viendo
me in
el
a Spanish
canal
tirade.
ahorita,
Don't get me into a Spanglish tirade. That's when you know I'm serious.
that's right. Aquí estamos con Geeks Forever, con el Ravens Flock, presentado con Telemundo. Anyways, thanks to everybody for joining. If you haven't already, make sure you follow us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook. On YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. Don't forget to join us on Friday as we celebrate 5 years with Geeks 5 Ever podcast and Geeks 5 Ever as a whole. We don't have an actual guest lined up, but we're going to open up the line so anyone and everyone can join us to share their thoughts about the community, what we can do to help spread awareness, what kind of guests you guys want to see on the show. It's going to be really cool. We don't have a show. I don't believe we have a show on Wednesday, but I will have one hopefully Thursday, Friday, hopefully Saturday and Sunday as well. Also, you can check out the Ravens Flock on Saturday as well. I will be on the Black Table podcast Sunday, but I will also be on my show Sunday at 5 p.m. on Sunday. Monday, XL podcast, 7 p.m. One of our biggest podcasts, definitely cancel culture. Cancel culture. Thank you, everybody, and everybody have a good night.
Have a good one.